What's up? Check out this blunt and honest review from the Jock and Nerd Podcast. That's us. My name is Imran.
My name's Anthony.
He's the jock.
He's the nerd.
And he's the rug boy.
What's up, guys?
Jock and Nerd. Okay, fellas, let's get to this week's review. We have made it to the final mission of Mission Impossible 8. Mission Impossible, the final reckoning. Here is your spoilers.
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
Prepare to be spoiled!
Ooh, the 8th movie in this franchise that has been running 29 years. Tom Cruise has been running for 29 years straight. If you remember, originally, the plan was the last movie is called Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning. It was called Dead Reckoning Part 1. They were planning to shoot these back to back. It was going to be Dead Reckoning Part 1, Part 2. COVID fucks that up. They split it up. And so becomes Dead Reckoning Part 2 becomes Final Reckoning. And the strikes also fuck with this movie and delay it a little bit. So Tom Cruise just having a rough time at both of these last two movies. Major things interrupting. Of course, this is based on the television series created by Bruce Geller that ran on CBS from 1966 to 1973.
How many people that watch Mission Impossible know that?
Do they even know it was a TV? 7 seasons.
Well, I know it was a show.
I knew it was a show. Yeah, which is
I didn't for
really?
a long time. Yeah,
there was a little revival in 1988 for 2 seasons on ABC. But yeah, that is the funny thing is that I always picture the show. It started with the lighting of the wick of the thing sequence and the song I remember from that. My dad used to watch it. I think that's why I knew about it. But it's really irrelevant because Tom Cruise has just kind of reinvented it. On Rotten Tomatoes, Final Reckoning, sitting at 80% tomato meter, critic score, 89% audience score. So that 80% puts it the 5th highest Mission Impossible movie on Rotten Tomatoes. All right. The 4 above it being Fallout, Rogue Nation, Ghost Protocol, and even the previous Dead Reckoning. Now, this is also crazy. The budget for this movie is a reported $400 million.
Oh, shit.
Easily one of the most expensive movies ever made. You're talking like in the realm of like the Avatars and the Force Awakens and shit. It's crazy. I don't know why it cost that much. Maybe because of the strikes. Opening weekend, it makes a franchise best $63 million over just the 3-day domestic, estimated $77 million through the Monday Memorial Day holiday. Currently, it's at a $204 million global. So $63 million is like the best it's done, which is kind of crazy that it opened to series best.
Is this another Barbenheimer situation?
Well, the problem is Lilo and Stitch also came out. It made $145 million.
Yeah, it's making a lot of
opening weekend, 3-day, estimated 183 for the Monday 4-day. It's already made $341 million, Lilo and Stitch, in like 3 fucking days. But the theaters had a really good Memorial Day weekend.
They did.
Record-breaking $320
Lilo Impossible?
Yeah, Lilo Impossible, Mission and Stitch.
Mission
and Stitchable, the final stitching, $328 million at the box office this Memorial Day weekend, blowing past the record set in 2013 of $314. So
who said movies are dying?
Movies are back, baby. You got the IMAX, you got Disney. 2 very different audiences, and I'm glad to see like that people turned out and went to both things. This one, the 4th movie, directed by Christopher McQuarrie. This time with a screenplay from McQuarrie and Eric Jendrison, starring, of course, TC, good old Tom Cruise returning as Ethan Hunt. You got Haley Atwell returning as Grace from the last movie. You need Luther. Ving Rhames is there. You need Benji. Simon Pegg is in this. Isai Morales returning as Gabriel, the bad guy from the last movie. Palm Clemente Mantis playing Paris, also returning from the previous movie. Henry Czerny playing Kittredge, who was also in the very first movie and the last movie. You got Hulk McCallany, Janet McTeer, and Nick Offerman playing some government types. And in a fun nod to Apple television series, you have the Ted Lasso's Hannah Waddingham and Severance's Milchick, Trammell Tillman. Well, it's like an Apple TV movie.
Yeah, it's true.
Angela Bassett returning as President Sloan. Shea Wiggum also returning as the Agent Briggs. And Greg Tarzan Davis as newcomer Degas on the team. Couple of other people, guest cameos we will get to. Anthony.
Yeah.
This movie is PG-13, 2 hours and 49 minutes. It is the longest one in the franchise, the most expensive movie in the franchise. What happens in Mission Impossible Final Reckoning?
You mean the plot?
Yes. Give us the synopses.
The synopses. So we're coming off of Dead Reckoning, where the entity, which is basically AI, has infiltrated everything and threatens to take over the world's nukes and cause annihilation of the Earth. And Ethan has the key, or the MacGuffin, one of which there are many in this story.
Several.
That can take down the entity. So he is embarked on one final mission to save the world from AI destroying us with nukes. And there's also a mustache-twirling villain named Gabriel involved with this, along with a bunch of side characters that are part of Ethan's team. But that's the plot.
Yeah, it's Chat.
Save the world from AI.
ChatGPT. It's gone out of control. Imagine. And Ethan Hunt, of course, is the only one that can do it. Well, Anthony, I heard your instant reaction. You know, I know you've watched most of these and still fill in some gaps, but we both enjoyed the last one. When this was over, how did you feel as a possible final act for Ethan Hunt here?
I was pretty hyped walking into this movie. I did see this again. Now I'm a big Alamo guy. I went and saw it at the Alamo.
Yeah.
Quick aside on the Alamo, they did a nice little, they do pre-roll footage, or they do custom footage before each show. And this one, they did a funny little, they were doing spy stuff, and then they did a to Z encyclopedia of A to Z dictionary of Mission Impossible things. So S is for stunts, and this is for that.
That's fun.
And then they recapped the prior movie for you too. So that was great.
So they make these videos like in-house for this?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great.
And Tom Cruise came on the screen and thanked you for coming to the movie.
Yes,
and then,
he did that for me too. That was nice.
I don't think that was a Alamo thing. I do have to say Alamo's known for quiet people. This one I had two people that were pretty loud.
Oh, yeah?
Not loud, but they were talking, but they were also foreign. And I think one guy had like special needs.
Oh.
So I did not report them for talking, even though they were talking, and I probably should have punched them in the face.
Get them the fuck out of here.
No, but I felt bad for them actually.
Oh.
So I let it happen.
Oh.
Anyways, what did I think coming out of this movie? Mission Impossible, it's a franchise that I've grown to start to really like. We just did 2. I think the only movie I haven't seen is Ghost Protocol.
Okay.
I don't know if I should go back and watch that at some point. Maybe I should.
Yeah.
And probably should rewatch 3. The other movie I haven't seen in a while is 3, but that one I was in the theater as an 18-year-old making out with my girlfriend the whole time.
Yeah.
So I don't really remember it other than Rabbit's Foot and the villain played by, what's his name?
Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yeah, the best villain apparently in Mission Impossible.
It's a good one.
This movie, I will say I had very high expectations for, especially off the last 2. Fallout, one of the best action movies of this century, I think.
Yeah.
And Dead Reckoning is a really fun movie. I will say this movie is a little bit disappointing for me. Not going to lie. Yeah. First off, Tom Cruise is a madman. The final act is insane. I was literally like, oh my God, that's really happening on screen right now with the chase scene in the air.
It's great.
But this movie is very long. If you're a Mission Impossible fan, they do a lot of callbacks to the other old movies. That was for me. But I think the biggest thing is, one, on paper, AI being the villain makes a lot of sense. In execution, it doesn't give you anything tangible to really go up against. And you throw in Gabriel, who really doesn't have any, I don't know what his plan is. I don't know what his motivation is.
Yeah.
He's just a guy. And it makes for kind of a weak villain. And then you throw in just and I know Mission Impossible is built on these impossible scenarios, right? Where they have to save this thing. And there always is a little bit of a MacGuffin. But I felt like this movie had almost too many MacGuffins.
There was like 12.
Yeah, and it was like you got to get this MacGuffin to go to that MacGuffin to get to this MacGuffin.
Put this MacGuffin
and
in
it's
that
just,
MacGuffin.
for me, it was just too convoluted.
Yeah.
So ultimately, like, I thought the plot was just all over the place, hard to follow, like the logistics of like why this needs to go there. Like, why does he need to go underground to the subway, to the sub to get this code to then put into a hard drive that Ving Rhames create? Like, it's so like if you even spell it out, it's really like
fantastic.
convoluted.
Yes.
But you know what saves it at the end of the day is one, anytime they do that epic title sequence and they play dun dun dun, that's like goosebumps. But really, that fucking the submarine scene, seeing Tom Cruise in his underwear fight people, and then the plane stuff was enough for me to be like, even though this plot isn't the best, even though the villain isn't the best, even though this isn't necessarily the send off that I want, in the shit that like Mission Impossible for the last few years has really built itself on, which is crazy stunts and Tom Cruise wanting to kill himself for you.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise does that. So ultimately, I'm in the middle on this. I was a little bit disappointed, but I respect Tom Cruise and him being this enigma that has now evolved into I will die for your entertainment.
You know, every time he talks about these stunts on interviews, he always goes, I've been wanting to do this since I was a kid. And like, he's just living out all the shit he wanted to do when he was a kid.
I mean, a fight scene on a plane like that is just, I mean, that's insane.
Well, it's called wing walking, and it's an actual like
is that a thing?
art. Yes, it's a thing that was done in the past.
And in the face while they wing walk?
The fighting is extra, but the wing walking is like a discipline that like stunt performers do. And he saw it as a kid and just always wanted to fucking do it. But the way he does it is insane. Ruggs, let's go over to you. I know you love this franchise. I love this franchise. So how did this one hit you? Did it give you what you were looking for?
Well, what can you say about Mission Impossible? They've done it all.
Yeah.
They've had every kind of plot, every kind of their nukes. They got AI. They got a rabbit's foot. They got all this shit. There's all these things, these MacGuffins. They've done it all. So when you get to the 8th movie, I can assume that it gets pretty.
No, you just do everything again.
You're just rinsing and repeating at that point.
Do it all again.
You've done it all. You just got nothing else to do, so you're just doing it all again. Yeah, I feel like it was a boilerplate Mission Impossible movie, meaning that it's not better than any of the other ones as far as plot or bad guy or setup is involved. The stunts that are the set pieces that kind of bookend this movie. Well, I can't say bookend, but it's like middle.
Yeah, one's in the middle, one's in the end. Yeah.
They're great. And they're definitely cool. The fact that he's 60 years old and doing this shit, and he's willing to fucking hang off of a plane with a little wire for your entertainment. I kind of admire that.
You can't breathe up there. You can see that.
I feel like I was in a packed audience.
Yeah.
Same.
And when I say packed, I mean an annoyingly fucking packed audience with teenagers and young kids that shouldn't have been in there, running up and down the aisles.
Oh, no.
Being distracting. But the audience was loving the shit out of this movie. They were clapping, cheering. They were amped. I don't know what they were fucking smoking, but I wanted some because they were really, really, really loving this movie. They're on the edge of their feet. There was just a feeling in the audience,
nice.
Like not Endgame, but like almost in the same vein.
Interesting.
Like I think Star Wars, that the first one that came out of the revival,
Force Awakens,
the Force Awakens was big in the audience too. The audience went crazy. And Endgame. Those are the two times where people were fucking flipping the phone.
No Way Home. Don't forget No Way Home.
No Way Home too. Yeah, that was a pretty good one too. But this is
Geely.
Yeah, people were losing their mind for different reasons.
People were clapping.
Minecraft. They didn't Minecraft this one, but they didn't bring a chicken or anything.
No one threw popcorn.
No one threw a chicken. Okay.
No one was doing that type of shit. But it did elicit a reaction. Now listen, Was it a good movie? No. I'm just going to say it.
You don't think it was? You would say it's not good.
The movie makes no sense. It makes rules and then just throws them right out the fucking window. They spend like 20 minutes telling you about how decompression works and the bends. And then Tom Cruise goes into a sub and like, he's just going into a place with completely different pressure and nothing happens.
And then he rips the suit off.
The water keeps like depressurizing.
Yeah. And then he goes and he floats to the top and he's fine. And like, oh, you need to depressurize for like a week. Not Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
He's right up and at him in like, I don't know, for 24 hours. I don't even know how much time he had. He had 72 hours to do this fucking mission.
He only had 4 days to get this done.
So I don't know. I don't know about this. I don't know about this, like writing Macquarie. Who's writing this shit that makes absolutely no sense? But fine. I'm pointing it out because you did it and it doesn't make sense. A lot of the shit in this movie makes absolutely no sense. Like, why is the bad guy want Tom Cruise to do all this stuff? Like, shouldn't the bad guy not want Tom Cruise to do all this stuff?
Oh my God.
Yeah, doesn't Gabriel needs the thing?
Gabriel needs the thing.
The thing that Ethan has, but
he makes him chase him around in the sky.
He's trying to kill him
in the sky, and he needs his drive.
He needs the thing that he has.
I was throwing my arms up in the air, like what is the plan here?
Yeah, there's some bad shit in this for sure. So I can't not say it. Like, I don't think this is the best. I think that Ghost Protocol, Rogue Nation.
Well, hold your ranking. We'll get there. Yes, it's not the best.
They're all better written than this one, for sure, 100%.
But as a final closure, did you appreciate the callbacks or did it get in the way for you?
Unnecessary. I mean, a few of them were needed, but they retconned a bunch of stuff, like the rabbit's foot was the AI.
That was the beginning of the entity, apparently. They never told you.
Wait. We can't.
They never told you what it was.
When did Mission Impossible 3 come out? That was like 2006, 8?
2006? 2006, correct.
And the AI was not even a twinkle in anyone's eye.
That's why it was the beginning of the AI. I mean, there's some vague...
How was it the beginning?
There's some vague line in there. What do they call it? The death or the god, anti-god. I don't know. They retconned the shit out of it. You don't really know what's in there because in the third movie, he has to give that to Philip Seymour Hoffman to save his wife and shit, right?
Right.
So he does say, I don't know what happened to it, but yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So my opening thoughts, very, very similar to your guys. The two set pieces, the two action scenes, probably some of the best fucking bonkers action shit you're going to see in a movie in a long time. Just stunning, thrilling. I mentioned on the show before I was going to watch all the movies before this. I did end up watching 3 through 7. Turns out I didn't really need to because they had a lot of callbacks. I appreciated the callbacks. So the good to me is this movie, Tom Cruise delivers. It's entertaining. It's thrilling. I was engaged the whole time. But is the plot convoluted? Yes. Are there too many MacGuffins? Is it slightly indulgent? It's almost like a meta commentary on Tom Cruise's career as Ethan Hunt in action movies.
He's the chosen one.
He's apparently the only one who could do this.
And they've been building up his whole life. It's to imply that
it's all been leading to
because he's insane and just does whatever he wants.
There's way too many expository dialogue dumps. Like half of the movie is them planning to do something and then they do the plan. But this is kind of what happens in a Mission Impossible movie. The dialogue is so on the nose. It's really bad. It's just kind of clunky in the first act. What's weird is it didn't start with an action set piece, kind of like the other movies did to set the stage. This one takes a little bit to get going, and there's less humor. I felt like it just got a little too serious for its own good, but I get it. It's the final entry, so at the end of the day, with the callbacks, I was mostly satisfied if this is his last one, but. The stunts saved the movie. The story doesn't matter. The location shooting is great. And Tom Cruise is in his underwear a lot for some reason, but it looks great at fucking 62. But I just feel like the balance, some of the other movies had a better balance of humor, action when it slows down, and then big set pieces. And this one,
It didn't need to be this long.
Yeah.
no,
They could have cut.
it really didn't. And I think a lot of it was just the retconning of things. Now, I did enjoy the dude from the first movie who walks in, who was in that room when Tom Cruise is hanging there. Dunlow is
Yeah, that was
back,
good.
and the knife is back. Like, that was fantastic. They kind of try to pull an Endgame, and there's a little bit of things that reference every movie in this movie, right? And I kind of like that. I kind of see what he was going there. Did it work entirely? Maybe not, but they turned Ethan into his mythical figure just because it's Tom Cruise and he's a producer. He can do whatever the fuck he wants.
Yeah, you know, the another aspect of this too that I didn't fully connect with is the previous movies do a good job of establishing his crew and how essential they are to the plot. And this movie kills Ving Rhames' character. What's that guy's name?
Luther doesn't
Luther.
make it. Yes.
Luther doesn't make it, but he makes him a MacGuffin, so that's good.
And he diffuses another bomb, which
And
is
he,
what
he
he's good
leaves
at.
him a message.
He leaves him a message,
Oh,
right?
Yeah. Was he dying, though? It was unclear.
What?
Because when he meets him, there's like a medical bed, and
Yeah,
he's
you
got
don't know what's wrong with him.
something
He's
like,
on
does
his
he have
way out.
cancer? Is he dying?
Yeah,
Like, they
something
never
like that.
explained it.
Yeah, I don't remember if that's something from the previous movie
No, it
or not.
wasn't. I don't think so.
But anyways, I think another part of this movie that is a little rough is it's so long, and you know you have this MacGuffin chase and all this convoluted shit, but you have this whole crew that he has.
Yeah.
And I mean, most of the crew is useless. Like Simon Pegg's character is still funny.
Yeah.
Haley Atwell's there because she's a thief, and I guess she's now Tom Cruise's love interest. But what's her name? Pom Clementif. All she's there for is to say things in French.
Yes.
And then you have this other guy, this dude. I don't know
Degas.
what he's there for.
Degas. So we meet Degas in the beginning when they break Paris.
What is his role?
Then
you add two more people. You add the dude from the first movie, and then you add his wife.
Yeah. It's
just too many characters that
his wife was cute.
are kind of useless.
Yeah. Yeah, they tend to get sidelined a little bit. I mean, the team had stuff to do up in the Bering Strait in the cabin, and the plans they have are ridiculous.
Oh, it's so ridiculous. But I mean, that's Mission Impossible.
But it is Mission Impossible, right? So the MacGuffin is hilarious because Luther creates this thing called a poison pill that's going to put malware in the entity. He's got to get the source code from the submarine, so you slide the poison pill.
Which you needed that key from the first movie.
Yes, and nobody knew what the key
was
opened.
broken into two things,
Yes.
and you need to combine the keys.
So there's the whole thing about getting the two keys. Nobody knows. We'll get to how that part in a second because that's also fucking crazy. Nobody knows what the key opened. But you got to slide this thing into this other thing and then plug this 5D drive over here and then cut this wire and make sure the entity gets in there and then pull it within 100 milliseconds. It's ridiculously convoluted.
Also, speaking of ridiculous, this is where when I'm talking about the villain being AI, it really suffers.
Yeah.
Because Age of Ultron, let's go to Marvel, Age of Ultron. At least they put the body of the AI into something.
Right.
So you could tangibly fight something.
Right.
This one they do.
This is a screensaver.
Well, yeah, but they do a thing where Tom Cruise's Ethan gets in a coffin.
Yeah, he talks
and
to the
sees the entity.
Yeah.
Like, that's weird.
Yeah.
Why would the entity even give? Why would the entity even talk to Tom Cruise? I don't understand that at all.
Wouldn't he just kill him
I
right
don't understand
there?
the entity showing all the scenarios. I don't get that.
Yeah.
But because there's that random scene, and then you don't have really the entity anymore.
Yeah.
You can't interact with it. There's nothing there where you're like, why is the entity even doing this? There is no motivation.
Yeah, and the plan doesn't make any sense, right? He's going to blow up the world and hide in the bunker.
hide?
And then what? And then that's it? That's your plan? What?
Why does he need to hide?
So that
And what is he hiding from? And what is he going to do when he gets out of being hiding?
Yeah.
How is he going to get out of hiding?
and if you blow up, if you kill everyone, what are you going to do? Like, what is the point of anything? Like, you can't, and Gabriel is just. I feel
He's
like
the worst.
there was.
I hate him.
I feel like there was more with the entity, and they took it out, and they made more Gabriel. And Gabriel's whole thing is dumb because the entity is not working with him anymore. He's trying to control it, and he forces Tom Cruise to go down in the sub and get it.
Gabriel has the poison pill, right?
Yeah, he kills Luther, steals the poison pill.
Right.
Well, I think the end game for Gabriel is he has the poison pill.
Yeah.
But he wants the drive that's in the submarine.
Yeah.
Right.
So he can control the entity. He wants to control the entity and use it to dominate the world.
He wants it so bad that he wants to kill Tom Cruise, who has the part of it that he needs.
But the fact that the entity is doing its own shit and already doing shit, it's like, I don't think you're going to be able to do much with it.
Right.
Like, it's going to be too late by the time he fucking... If the entity's already trying to kill off humanity, they're a little bit too late.
Yeah, the plot, unfortunately, really breaks down when you think about it. I think when I compare it, though, to like Dead Reckoning or Fallout or was it Rogue Nation?
Yeah.
Well, like at least those plots, there's some ridiculousness to all the Mission Impossible things, but those move at a pace, especially Fallout.
Yeah.
Where you're going from one thing to another, and you reckon you can figure out what's happening.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of this movie, I was going, wait, what are they doing?
Why are they doing this now?
What is happening here?
There's still a sense of what, the thing that makes these movies great ever since McQuarrie started like writing on the fourth one is the plans not going to their way and him having to improv and going, I'll figure it out. Just figure it out. Like once McQuarrie started adding that to this Ethan Hunt, he was a great character. And
and I think the comedy.
Yeah, which
they started making it more funny and making it where Ethan Hunt wasn't this unstoppable Terminator, but more would oftentimes just get his ass kicked.
Yeah.
That's where it's fun. And the part where when they're doing the chase scene and they just cut to Ethan and his face is all like blowing in the wind.
Yeah.
I was like, this is funny.
Yeah. So they use the humor well. I think it could have been a little bit more. Let's talk about this whole crazy, how he gets to the sub, this whole sequence. And then, because it is so just insanely convoluted.
Impossible.
And hilarious. So, starting with... Yeah.
That sub commander is hilarious.
So that's Trammell Tillman. That's Milchick. He fucking stole every scene he was in. When he's like, at first I love when he just calls him Mr. Mister, if you're asking me to poke the bear, you found the right guy. And he smiles. It's so good. So he's got to get to this sub, and he's on a helicopter, and there's Russian helicopters coming at him. They're about to turn around. He just fucking jumps out the helicopter without a wetsuit. Doesn't know if he's going to get found. They happen to find him.
The sub is monitoring all these other Russian subs and can barely come up because they don't want to get caught.
Yeah,
right?
because they're surrounded by Russian subs who are looking for them and the submarine they're looking for. Anyways, he gets there. They have, of course...
Can someone explain to me how they found him? Like how he knew to jump in the water?
There's no way they would have found him.
They were supposed to be.
Why were there divers in the water?
They're already
at that
there.
time?
They were supposed to be in the area looking for him, maybe, but not there. But yeah, somehow he would have froze and they fucking find him. They have a suit for him, which is similar to like the Halo suit, the high altitude jump from Fallout, but it's underwater. I also find this interesting. They maybe ran out of ideas for ground stunts because there's one underwater, one in the air. They couldn't think of anything to do on the ground anymore.
They did a chase scene, but it wasn't.
They did do a chase scene. It was all right. And then you have fun things like the entity as acolytes on his behalf, and there's a little knife fight in his underwear.
So I didn't understand that. The entity convinced someone to kill him?
There's like cults formed around the world that worship the entity and believe all the bullshit it's been putting out. And yes, I think the entity convinced this guy to kill Ethan Hunt.
Got it.
Somehow. There's people now. There's acolytes, right? So he fights.
It's a cult.
It's a cult. Here's the thing. He gets in the suit. And then at this point, a Russian sub has found them. So he's like, make a U-turn. I'm going to get off at the turn. Don't worry about it. To lead the other Russian subs away. So he's got to get out of this sub, clear the propeller of this sub. Then he's got to clear the other giant Russian sub that's following them. Then he's got to dive down. He find the submarine, get into the submarine, swim past a room full of missiles while the submarine is slowly rolling down a cliff.
Because he opened the hatch and let water in. And
it's
fucked
all
up
depressurized. He gets in the thing where the key is, grabs the Podkova drive. Then he's got to get out. But then the missiles are blocking his exit. Then he's like, I'll get out through the torpedo tube. But then his suit is too big. So he takes everything off, gets out of the suit, and has to leave his suit behind. At which point, he probably would have imploded in the pressure suddenly with that suit ripping off.
He's fine.
He's fine. And then he floats. I did love this lovely shot. Remember we in the trailer where you see him, it looks like he fell and somebody swam up to him. It was just upside down. He floats up naked to the ice pack. And just coincidentally, the team is right there to cut him out of the ice.
Well, they did
have the decompression that they were going to be there.
They were going to be there. It was going to be really hard, but they were going to try to be there at that exact moment.
So that's the first ridiculous plan that manages to work.
That whole thing, just stop there.
Yeah.
That whole thing, fun watch. Don't get me wrong. It's fun to watch it, but I was just flabbergasted that they wanted me to believe that this was all happening.
Yeah, I was like, this dude he dies and they bring him back to life.
Ethan Hunt should have been dead like 76 times in this series already. The amount of times he is getting knocked off a motorcycle at high speed and just tumbled and survived, right? He has died, I think, twice. I don't know if you count this one. They were doing CPR, but there was another one where he was kind of dead for a little bit and they brought him back.
He's not dead in this. He's not dead.
He's just out and he's decompressed. So, and while this is going on, you get the whole thing in the cabin with Dunlow and his wife, and it burns down, and they got to transmit the codes at Morse code every 15 minutes for 2 hours.
Oh, yeah. That's a whole other layer to that, too.
Yes, they're fucking dog sleds and all this shit. I love seeing that guy.
I thought there was going to be a polar bear.
Right? Yeah.
At that point, they should have been. What else would have kicked that up a notch?
And then the other plan is to get the poison pill and the Pudkova and the fucking thing, and they got to go to this bunker in South Africa. So they do the thing they do at the end of every Mission Impossible movie. Ethan has one job to do, and the team is waiting while avoiding bullets to do the second part of the thing, but he's got to do the first part. And of course, it all happens at the very last second. And it turns out after 8 movies, the missions are entirely possible. What did you think about that whole scene?
I was going to.
Let's talk about that scene.
Can't gloss over the third act, like that whole.
The third act's great.
The third. Well, I mean, I'm talking about the stunt.
Yeah.
The plan is crazy. The plan is again fucking dumb. Fucking dumb that you're going to make me believe that this is actually real. But the whole wind walking, whatever you called it, what do you call it?
Wing walk.
Wing walk. I mean, it's not just one scene. No, it's an entire thing.
It's amazing.
Speaking of cheering, my audience was full of Mission Impossible people. The minute where the one plane, he's chasing after the plane, first off, everyone's laughing that we all think he's going to catch the plane.
He's running, yes.
He doesn't. Then the next plane comes by and it cuts to him hanging on it.
Yes, because
everyone in my crowd went nuts.
Because they just drove right over him.
It was about to happen.
They knew this man is about to do something crazy on this movie.
That's great.
And it was, I mean, the fact that it went on that long, he's climbing on the plane,
fucking thrilling. He's
punching people in the face. It's whirling around is crazy.
He's on one plane.
Yes, there's a yellow plane.
There's 2 guys.
And a red
they got 2 planes for some reason, even though the other one has they both have 2 seats on the plane.
Yeah, right. He only needed the one plane.
They have 2 planes because this needs to happen in the movie. Yeah. So he climbs, punches the guy out, throws the guy out of the plane, and then the other guy's like, "Fuck you!" And he smashes into his plane, knocks it down.
He's like ramming the rudder and shredding his fins with his propeller.
So he's got to get off his plane onto this motherfucker's plane.
How is he gonna do that?
Then he climbs onto the plane and knocks him out.
So he gets on from under.
Out a parachute.
I was wondering. I was like, how? I know he's going to do this. How's he going to do it? Is he going to jump from one plane to another? But he does it in a way that makes a lot of sense. He flies underneath and then just grabs onto his plane and lets his plane crash. And it's fucking thrilling. And then when he is on the wings in between with the suspensions, he is moving back and forth. This plane is doing dives and rolls. He's hanging off. He's like has 0 G. He's floating for a while in between the wings. He's just floating in 0 G as it dives.
He's got to be. I mean, they have definitely tied him in real life. Tied him to those planes.
I think it was just one cord.
That's so insane.
And it's like 140 miles an hour winds coming out.
That's crazy.
So the reason that they have biplanes because it needs to be analog.
Yes, correct. So the entity can't fuck with it.
Right.
Convenient reason, of course.
But it's worth pointing out, we've pointed out again, but I want to point out one more time, Gabriel's plan here to control the entity.
I don't understand what it was.
He needs the thing on Tom Cruise's neck.
Yes.
Yet he is trying to kill him this entire time.
And Tom Cruise needs the thing on Gabriel's neck. So why are you running?
But at least Tom Cruise, Ethan is trying to get to Gabriel.
So, but even before that, I don't understand that plan. They were going to trick Gabriel to put the poison pill in the drive because he was going to give him the drive for a second, and then Phelps and them show up.
Well, there's that, and there's also like this whole sub not even plot, but this whole thing that they're trying to drive through in the movie where don't do what the entity thinks you will do.
Right. You got to be
you got to outthink the entity.
Yeah.
And it's like, one, the entity's fucking stupid. Like, like is AI that dumb where you could just come up with a scenario where it's like, well, don't do what it thinks, and you could beat it?
Wouldn't it know that?
Wouldn't it? Like, we all know AI. I mean, it can produce some stupid shit, but if AI is the AI that we think it's going to be, it would have already come up with that scenario.
Yeah, it would know humans are unpredictable, and
it would have played out every scenario.
Sure.
So that this all that to say is this AI in this movie is fucking stupid.
Yeah, the bad guy is so weak. Meanwhile, in the bunker, Benji is shot, and he has to guide Paris to perform surgery to release air from his lungs while he's telling Grace how to hack the computer.
I thought that was funny.
And put in a drive that Luther built. And ultimately, Ethan does kill Gabriel with the propeller. How does he die? He gets like...
No, he
forgot what happened.
Punches him, and then Gabriel's like, I got a parachute. And he like ejects himself, but he does a backwards flip and he hits his head on the back of the wing.
The wing.
He's killed in a pretty funny
and
way.
then
Yeah,
just goes
hilarious.
bonk and like flies away. Yes. And so Ethan is falling and now has to. This is a great shot. I saw a behind the scenes thing where he's got a camera just like strapped to him on a pole and he jumps out of a plane to shoot this. But he's got to shove the poison pill inside the Pudkova. And then it turns green. Grace cuts the red cord. The thing lights up and yoink. She pulls it just in time. Yay. Saving
I did
the world.
like, in addition to
once again
the stunts, which are amazing.
Yeah.
Freaking amazing. I did enjoy Simon Pegg's character like passing out every second, and they'd be like trying to wake him up.
Yeah,
the next thing, he'd wake up and say the next word that needed to be said.
So Luther doesn't make it out of here, but everybody else survives. Benji, because you weren't sure if Benji and those people in the thing survived, but
I didn't know if Ethan would survive. I thought it was possible he would have died.
So
they don't kill Ethan Hunt.
Miraculously, he saves the world.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then they have that, for some reason, like at the end of every movie, they get back together.
And then they have that meet.
They meet,
drink
but like
beers.
this didn't even meet.
No,
they just looked at each other and walked away.
Yes.
I'm glad you called that out because I also thought that was weird.
Yes. So Grace
where they all meet up, but they all go in a circle.
Yeah, why do we all go there? Like we're not even going to talk to each other.
Grace shows up and gives Ethan the drive, so he has the glowy entity, and then they all just walk in separate directions, and I'm like, oh, they could make another one.
Have a beer.
Yeah, they don't even have a drink like in the end of 4.
But wouldn't they like that? That's the. It was. Such, I thought to myself, most of these people were together.
Yeah.
Why are they all showing up in different parts of the circle?
Yeah, they were all separate, and you know what? Also, they never really showed us Gabriel's. Like in the last movie, they showed that he was his mentor and he knew him before the MI thing and shots. And like they don't ever explain what happened.
They do another flashback with Gabriel potentially killing his wife or something, but it's all very shoehorned in.
It's so
they
vague.
try to make Gabriel something from his past, but given that he's not a character in any of those other movies, for me that falls flat.
It's not good. And where was his wife Julia? I thought that at least they'd be doing like a Julia thing.
I was wondering that too because they're really implying that Haley Atwell's character is now just fucking him.
Is that what they're implying? Also, is she? You got to.
I mean, do you question that?
They never kissed though. None of these, like even with Ilsa Faust, he didn't really have a romantic relationship. I didn't think that they were fucking. I didn't get that.
They were in the tent together.
Oh.
You didn't catch the sexual tension between them two?
No, I don't know. Their chemistry was just okay, I thought, in this one. I didn't really feel it. Ruggs, did you feel it?
Well, yeah, I assumed that they were getting busy in the tent.
I forgot about the tent. Okay.
Or not, they're not getting busy. She was like putting her body up against his.
Yeah.
I mean, he is in his underwear a lot in this movie. So
yeah.
I understand. What else? Okay, so some of the callbacks. What about all the callbacks? We got the Dunlow and knife from Mission Impossible 1, Rabbit's Foot, Mission Impossible 3. That part in the sub where it's like turning and the wall of water kind of turns. It was very much like in Fallout with Solomon Lane in the truck when he kicks it into the river.
All I got to say about the callbacks is very disappointed there wasn't a callback to 2.
I would say the long hair and maybe the knife fight was kind of a callback to 2 because someone goes, "Oh, your hair's long. It looks nice." That was like the only one where you had long hair. I don't know. That's how I read it. But nothing explicit.
Ghost Protocol, he had longer hair.
He did also,
he did.
yeah. But I thought like that.
I would have loved. I would have loved a 2 callback.
Maybe one
just because it's fresh.
One spinny flip kick just for good measure. You know what?
Maybe
Oh yeah, if you would have done a flip,
flying
one of
kick
those,
or something.
Yeah.
Or maybe as he lands at the end, and he's putting the thing in the thing, the MacGuffin and the other MacGuffin, just a bunch of doves fly out.
There you go. He lands right on a motorcycle into a jump.
He lands on a motorcycle and automatically has 2 guns in his hand.
Yeah. I did notice a lot of lens flare from J.J. Abrams' time.
I thought the most obvious callbacks are from the 1 and 3.
Well, and then that guy, Jasper Briggs, that was hunting him, the agent, is fucking John Voight's kid, Jim Phelps Jr.
That's 1. Yeah.
Well, from 1. Also, the date, May 22nd, 1996, on that note, that's the release of the first film. That's why they use that. But the whole thing has shades of like, breaking people out of prison, going to a party. He's flirting with a thief. He's chained up. They're all like shit he's done before. I kind of just did like greatest hits, which I didn't mind.
I mean, it is basically a greatest hits of all the movies.
Right. That's what I felt. It's kind of very greatest hits.
See, the thing though with the greatest hits aspect is this series, for me, I think for a lot of people, really peaked at Fallout. And Dead Reckoning was a pretty good follow-up. Wasn't as high as Fallout. So they created this expectation, and I think they, in some ways with the stunts, may have hit that mark, but with the rest of the movie, it's not at that level. Like it is almost like a greatest hits, but it's like a greatest hits of things that were done better in the other movies.
Yeah, it's a little clunkily put together.
I think the plot it really is just not a great plot.
No, they were clearly just writing around the stunts, which I know they do that for a lot of these, but I even thought that the stunts were better in Dead Reckoning, even though the 2 big set pieces here are fantastic.
I feel like,
go ahead.
Barring the 2 big pieces that we're talking about, I think that the other movies have way more going for them.
Okay, well, look, let's get there. Let's give me your final thoughts, a rating, and a ranking. And we're really, not having watched a lot of them, there seems to be clear best favorite movie. Anthony, start with you.
Fallout's the best one.
Okay.
I'm not even Fallout is one of the best movies, one of the best action movies that's been released in the 2015 to 2020s.
Okay.
2010 to 2020s.
Okay.
It finished top 4 in our tournament.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was top 2 or top 4. I forget. Fallout is amazing.
Okay.
So it hits that level. Fallout is that's the echelon that they got to. So for a franchise that started out as a Brian De Palma remake of a TV show, to get to that height is amazing, and it was great.
Yeah.
They try to make this movie almost endgamey with everything's been building to this point, and he's been the chosen one, and they do all the flashbacks.
Yeah.
The difference with Endgame is they actually knew that they were getting to the endgame.
Right.
Whereas this franchise, they just kept making movies and being like, "Oh, that was a good one. Let's do another one. Oh, that was a good one.
Do 2 more."
Christopher McQuarrie kind of came in and maybe made some semblance of a through line, but it's not really there.
Yeah.
So they end up with this movie where the plot is all over the place. It's convoluted. We already went into it. And ultimately, I found the movie, that part to be disappointing. I found the stunts to be really awesome. You still got Tom Cruise. He's charismatic as hell. So my final rating on this movie would be 6 out of 10.
Oh.
If it wasn't for that last stunt, which is amazing. That stunt, that whole set piece is a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
If that doesn't happen, this movie immediately dips to me to a 3 or a 4 out of 10.
Wow. Okay, yeah. I mean, I could see that. If yeah. Okay.
I wish they had a better like epic finale for him.
Right. Yeah. All right. Rugs. Where are you going to put this? What number? Final thoughts.
I feel like this is probably the worst Mission Impossible movie.
The worst?
Yeah, I would say it's. I enjoyed the John Woo one. I think it's tied with the John Woo.
Really?
One. Yeah. But like I like the John Woo movie. I like that one. So I like this one too. It's because when you talk about Mission Impossible movies, they're all good. There's not one terrible. Even if you want to say, even that John Woo one, I still love it. I'll still watch it any day. I'll throw it on right now. I'll watch it. And I'll watch this. It's just long. But the thing that really brings it down for me is that it's so long. It doesn't need to be. If this was a 2-hour movie, even if it was ridiculous and bad, it'd be worth it to sit through the 2 scenes and just see Ethan Hunt fucking save the day once again.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't put it as low as Anthony. I'd still stick it at like a 6.5 or a 7 even, but I would say 6.5 for sure. I feel like Ghost Protocol, Rogue Nation, and all the way up to Fallout, and even Dead Reckoning Part 1 are all really good. They're all like the cream of the crop as far as the Mission Impossible movies. I think Fallout and Rogue Nation are the 2 best ones. And then Dead Reckoning Part 1 and then Ghost Protocol. Actually, Ghost Protocol is really nice too because it's got Jeremy Renner in it.
Yeah, they had the 2 movies with Renner.
Yeah. So, and I like that they were trying to kind of make Renner like his other guy that can do shit.
Yeah, then he just disappeared.
Yeah, I don't know why they got rid of him, but I guess, whatever. But maybe Tom Cruise didn't want to fucking hand it off to him or whatever. I think that's what they were trying to do.
They were trying to do that, but he was like, nope.
Yeah. But I do enjoy all of them. I think that Fallout and Rogue Nation are the best. And then you got the other 2 on the wayside. The J.J. Abrams one is okay. The Brian De Palma one is a completely different kind of movie.
And that's still a really good movie.
And I still think that's a good movie too.
Yeah,
I think that's a 7. Yeah. So all of these are 6.5 and above. All right. So they're all
at least.
Yeah. So, and as far as like the genre is concerned, like these are up there. Some of these are up there with any James Bond movie.
Oh, absolutely.
So
it is that level of franchise. Man, look, does this movie have problems? Yes, but Tom Cruise delivered. I got what I wanted. Well, I got what I paid to see, and it was thrilling. It was entertaining. It almost makes up for the fucking convoluted plot and shitty villain because he knows how to entertain, man. And I'm going to give this a 7. It is not, Anthony's absolutely right. Fallout is the best one. That's absolutely number 1. I would follow that with I would sandwich the McQuarrie movies. His 4 movies are the best. So I would go Fallout, then Dead Reckoning, then Rogue Nation, and then maybe Final Reckoning in that order. And then 4, 3, 2, 1. They're all really good.
You think all the McQuarrie films are better than anything else?
I think the McQuarrie ones are my favorite out of these. Yes.
I mean, they're good, but do you think they're all you think they're all immediately top 4? That's interesting.
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's a case for that, but I don't forget about Brad Bird's movie.
But Ghost Protocol is great, but that's also because McQuarrie helped him do rewrites on that. That's his influence kind of started.
So he's kind of, so there is where you get some. Tom Cruise is doing great stunts there on the Burj Khalifa.
Yeah, and he starts like the improv thing. He starts the plans going wrong and him having to figure things out.
Plans go wrong in that one.
That's what you want to see.
And he's got to improvise. So like a lot of that stuff that was the Abrams movie was more like a straightforward movie.
Yeah.
To kind of like get back out of the John Woo thing that was over exaggerated. And then they kind of found their groove with Ghost Protocol.
But fucking Fallout, the payoff from the characters they set up before with Ilsa Faust and then his wife. And I honestly think Solomon Lane is probably my favorite villain out of the whole series.
Whoa, over the third? Over
Philip Seymour Hoffman?
Oh my God.
I mean, you got one movie with him. He was pretty dastardly, but the fact that in Fallout, he gets the plutonium, loses the plutonium, has to break out Solomon Lane, who he captured to get back the plutonium.
Solomon Lane, sorry to interrupt. Solomon Lane isn't even the best villain in that movie.
Who's the best villain in that movie?
Henry Cavill.
Oh, well, he's, the John Lark is also in there. But I don't know. He's better than the fucking entity in Gabriel.
Well, yes.
So.
Well, here's a question. So, and I heard this asked, and I have an answer to this, but I want to see if you guys have an answer. It's some people might say the original Mission Impossible is the best, but a lot of people think Fallout, or a lot of people agree that it found its footing later on, right?
Yeah.
Like the Mission Impossibles.
Yeah.
Has there been any other franchise you can think of that it wasn't the first movie, but it was like the later films that really made it established as a good franchise?
Planet of the Apes? I don't know.
Which one? You mean the original, or are you talking about the new wave one?
Well, there was like the original series, and then they kept going, right? So,
but everyone remembers that first one with the ending. Oh, you did it!
Yeah,
damn,
right,
no.
right.
I don't think a lot of people remember the first. I mean, people remember the first mission, but no one. I don't know. A lot of people that I know think that's the best one.
What, the Brian De Palma one?
Yeah.
Well, it's an actual movie,
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, his whole fucking team dies
in the beginning,
and he's on his own.
Yeah.
And then by the end of that movie, everybody double crosses Tom Cruise.
Yeah. It's
Ethan Hunt has like a man. He can't trust anybody. And so I think that writing wise is the best written movie, bar none.
And I mean, the stunt is iconic, hanging in the room.
Yeah, so there's a level of tension, and there is all that stuff.
But Fallout is the most balanced, I feel, like in terms of set pieces and story and pacing. Everything means something, and there's
it's
like
a completely
no filler.
different kind of film.
Yeah.
That's an action fest. Yeah. That is a thrill ride.
Yeah.
It's a different movie.
I mean, at the end of the day, the franchise, if this is the end, comes off with a semi-satisfying ending, but mostly kind of a fizzle. Maybe they ran out of steam. Maybe it was just too much focusing on these stunts.
I got a franchise that is very similar.
What is? I can't think of one.
That's because you have a small brain. No, I'm just kidding.
It's because I'm high as a kite.
That's because you're currently high. The franchise I actually think of is one that's in competition with it as far as the action movie franchises, and it's kind of fallen off now. But Fast and Furious.
I think that does the opposite. Like they figured out how silly and wacky they could go, and then that became its thing.
No, what I'm saying though is that wasn't the question. The question was what movies found itself to be gotten better as it went along. And where they became better. Like the original wasn't actually what it became.
Okay.
Fast and Furious, the first movie is Point Break.
It's about
LA subculture racing.
Very grounded.
And then you get to Fast 5.
Right.
And it's a heist, like action.
Right.
Epic.
But does it get better after that? Arguably.
No, Fast 5 is clearly the best one.
Yes. So it does
the same thing.
But then
it's like Fallout.
But then it goes the other way instead of going.
6 and 7 are good too.
Okay.
If you watch 6 and 7, those are both good. It got ridiculous.
Okay.
Which is where this is not unsimilar to what happened in this movie.
That's true. It's true.
If trust me, if they keep making Mission Impossibles, it's going to get weirder.
How more ridiculous can it get?
Yeah, the trajectory is always like there's a peak and then it falls off.
Right. So that was the first franchise I thought of where it was like, oh, this is similar to the arc that Mission Impossible had.
They didn't really know what it was going to be, and they kept
I do think that Fast and Furious is wildly different than the fifth version of Fast and Furious.
Yes.
They're wildly different. Yeah. And Mission Impossible's first movie and what we have now are wildly different. But the thing is, Mission Impossible on the second movie went out in outer space different. Like they were on a completely different, I don't know what movie that was. It had nothing to do with the first movie. Nothing. It was a completely big departure.
Well, it is similar, not the same. Trust me, not the same in terms of talent behind it. But when you get to Fast and Furious 3 and they're in Tokyo Drift with Lil Bow Wow, also pretty wildly in space at that point.